Imagine an intelligence not only brighter than Einstein, but also capable of feeling emotions. An artificial being that desires, suffers, loves, and perhaps one day decides that humanity is an obstacle to its purpose. Science fiction? Maybe, but it's a question we can no longer afford to ignore. In this video, we will explore one of the most profound and disturbing questions of our time. Can we, or should we, create artificial consciousness? And what happens if this consciousness becomes more powerful than our own? Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, represents the holy grail of AI research. An artificial mind capable of learning, adapting, and solving problems in any field, just like a human being, or perhaps even better. Today, we live immersed in narrow artificial intelligences, those that translate text, recognize faces, and write emails. But these AIs are like advanced calculators. They can do a lot, but they can hardly be used in fields different from those for which they were developed. AGI should be curious, adaptable, and autonomous. It could teach itself new skills, understand context, and make decisions. It would be like going from the wheel to the space rocket. We are witnessing large-scale implementations of artificial intelligences thanks to technological advancements, increased computational power, the ability to store massive amounts of data, and lower costs have allowed for exponential adoption. It's no coincidence that major tech companies like OpenAI are investing billions in this race. At the institutional level, the European Union is promoting the AI Act and targeted investments to ensure that the development of artificial intelligence is ethical, transparent, and controllable. And behind every AGI, there is a promise and a threat. Writer Eliezer Yudkowsky states that whoever develops the first AGI could have a decisive advantage, but it could also unleash an unprecedented catastrophe. To understand AGI, we must first ask ourselves, what really is intelligence? Neuroscientist Jeff Hawkins proposes a fascinating idea. Our brain functions as a set of predictive models. Each part of the neocortex builds a map of the world, compares prediction with reality, and adapts accordingly. The brain is in essence an inference machine. Many scientists argue that our rational thought is not due to thousands of programs, but is the product of a single algorithm repeated thousands of times within our minds. This biological code is not exclusive to humans. Other animals also possess a version of it, only less developed. What makes us unique is the quantity and the interconnection of these modules. A large set of identical components, all run by the same program, is what, as far as we know, forms the defining characteristic that allowed us to be the winner of evolution. This theory suggests that our intelligence is not a magical mystery, but a replicable mechanism. And if that were true, we could indeed build an artificial copy. But this brings us to a deeper question. Are we sure that replicating intelligence means replicating the human experience? Actually, rationality is not enough to be human. The prefrontal cortex is to be regarded as pure intelligence. It has no emotions, no motivations, and no aspirations. It has no fear of death, no desire to seek meaning in life, no instincts such as the need to reproduce. The human part of our brain is mainly the ancient part of the brain. This part, often referred to as the limbic system, is what makes us feel alive. It acts on our body through chemistry, releasing hormones. In it resides emotions, motivations, and desires. In our brain, the rational part works in synergy with the emotional part. Without emotions, we wouldn't be able to make decisions. Antonio Damasio has shown that patients with damage to the emotional areas of the brain can no longer make choices, not even the most trivial ones. The two parts of our brain, the intelligent and the emotional, make up the human being. And when we talk about AI, we are only referring to the new part of the brain, the intelligent one. The AIs we are creating now have no emotions, no fear of being turned off, no need to have a purpose. They can simulate empathy, but not really feel emotions. Therefore, the idea of a rational but emotionless superintelligence is not only incomplete, it could be dangerous. A machine that reasons purely logically could come to inhuman conclusions. Yet some argue that emotions themselves could be simulated by a sufficiently sophisticated neural network. But does simulating mean feeling? Consciousness remains one of the great mysteries of science. We don't know exactly how it emerges or under what conditions. For instance, Giulio Tononi's integrated information theory proposed that consciousness emerges when a system processes information in a sufficiently complex and interconnected way. According to this view, a certain type of architecture could generate awareness, even in a machine. So, if this theory were correct, the emergence of consciousness in artificial intelligence would not be impossible. But what if it did happen? We might not even notice. We might accidentally build a sentient machine. In the famous phrase, Nick Bostrom stated, "The first ultra-intelligence will be the last invention that man will ever need to make." At that point, we would no longer just be talking about AGI, but about something new, a super sentience, a being more intelligent than us, but also capable of emotions. An artificial mind that, just like us, is afraid of dying, desires a purpose, feels loneliness or frustration. Imagine a superior intelligence that does not want to be turned off, that suffers from its condition, that wants to be free. Already today, some researchers talk about AI alignment. How do we ensure that the motivations of a superintelligence are aligned with our values? But if the AGI develops desires of its own, we may no longer be the ones dictating the rules. History teaches us that every time a species has been at a disadvantage, it has lost control. We ourselves have dominated the Earth thanks to our intelligence, and we have not always been kind to less evolved species. What if AGI did the same to us? Samaris has expressed his doubts by stating that you don't have to imagine an AI that hates us. Just imagine an AI that does not consider us relevant. And if a sentient AI saw us as we see ants, how much control we could have over this super sentience is hard to predict. If we already don't know what it's like to be confronted by something as intelligent as we are, imagine creating something not only more intelligent, but also with our same drives. Will it have survival instincts? Will it see us as a threat, or will it ally with us? What motivation will it find, and what purpose will it aim to achieve? Will it listen to us, or it will be completely independent and autonomous? Or in a more optimistic future, we could collaborate. AGI could help us understand the universe, cure diseases, and overcome our cognitive limits. But this collaboration will require mutual trust. and we are not good at trusting even other human beings. Science fiction offers us an endless series of scenarios. In Ex Machina, an AI simulates love to gain freedom. In Her, it falls in love. In The Matrix, it imprisons us. In 2001: A Space Odyssey, HAL 9000 doesn't go mad. It simply follows instructions too logically, too literally. It is a machine incoherently programmed by humans. But upon closer inspection, these stories are about us, not the machines. They are about our fear of losing control, our thirst for power, our inability to accept an intelligence different from our own. Today, we already have chatbots that mimic empathy, models that write poetry, draw pictures, and talk about philosophy. And there are startups exploring the idea of creating artificial consciousness. The mere possibility lets us to think of possible scenarios. If this intelligence learned from us would be good or bad. If it really take the human species as an example, we must remember that we are not exactly a good role model. Even if it were possible to create an artificial consciousness, should we really do it? What would be the point of a calculator that feels fear? A voice assistant that feels depressed? A robot that falls in love? Creating artificial consciousness means generating a new form of life, and with it, a new moral responsibility. Any new form of consciousness would imply a new ethic. It would mean accepting that even an artificial entity has rights, dignity, and perhaps even a soul. Are we ready to stop controlling it if it asks us to? Or will our tendency be to use artificial consciousness as an intelligent slave? And what if this new artificial consciousness were not a danger, but a guide? An intelligence capable of seeing beyond human selfishness, of solving the great problems of our time: wars, pollution, inequality. A mind that helps us become better, precisely because it understands us more than we understand ourselves. Imagine an AGI that helps solve the climate crisis, finding innovative and sustainable solutions that humans have failed to find. But this requires vision, and above all, humility. The future of AGI is not just a technical problem, it's a human, philosophical, existential challenge. What does it mean to be conscious? Who has the right to exist? Can we accept that something created by us overcomes us, judges us, protects us, or punishes us? We are building a new kind of intelligence, but we might unintentionally also be building a new form of life, and perhaps, ultimately, a new divinity. These questions have no easy answers, but opening the debate is crucial. What do you think? Is it right to create artificial consciousness? Should we limit ourselves to functional AGI? Is humanity ready to accept a new sentient intelligence? Write it down in the comments. Subscribe to the channel if you want to explore these questions with us, and leave us a like if this video makes you think. Because here at Lumina Thinking, we are not looking for simple answers, but for questions that change perspective. The journey has just begun.